If you create anything online, you know the constant balancing act, right? You pour your heart into making something genuinely valuable, but you also need people to actually find it. Well, that tension is at the heart of what we're talking about today, because Google has drawn a very clear line in the sand, and it forces a choice. So let's just start with the single most important question you can ask yourself as a creator today. Are you writing for a person, or are you writing for a machine? The answer, well, it's going to determine your entire strategy and honestly, your chances for real long-term success. So what is this new golden rule? It's actually incredibly simple. Google's automated ranking systems are now laser-focused on one thing: finding and rewarding content that is made for people. The whole goal is to bring helpful, reliable information to the top, not just stuff that's been cleverly optimized. And this really splits content creation into two very different philosophies. You've got people-first content on one side, where the primary goal is just to help a real person. And on the other, you have search engine-first content, which is really designed to game the system for rankings. The big takeaway here, Google is getting way, way better at telling the difference between the two. Now, hold on. This doesn't mean SEO is suddenly a bad word. Not at all. Think of it like this. Your content is the amazing meal you've cooked. SEO is just the set of signs and directions that helps people and search engines find your restaurant. It's a tool to support your great work, not a substitute for it. So, how can you tell if you're on the right track? Well, Google has actually given us a little self-assessment test. These questions are a fantastic gut check for your own work. Let's walk through some of the big ones. Okay, this is the ultimate test of value. Seriously, forget about keywords for a second and just ask yourself, is this piece of content so good, so genuinely useful, that a real person would actually want to save it or send it to a friend? If the honest answer is no, you've probably got some work to do. This one's all about authenticity. Have you actually used the product you're reviewing? Have you really been to the city you're writing a guide for? That kind of real-world, first-hand experience creates a richness that is just impossible to fake. And that's exactly what people and Google are looking for. All right, let's flip the script for a minute. Now we're going to look at warning signs, the questions that might signal you're drifting into that search engine first territory. If you find yourself nodding and saying yes to these, it's probably a red flag. Let's just put this myth to bed right here, right now. Google has said it directly. They do not have a preferred word count, period. Writing another 500 words of fluff just to hit some imaginary target doesn't help your reader, and it definitely doesn't help you rank. Just write what's needed to be helpful, and then stop. Oof, this next question, this one hits right at the heart of what frustrates us all as users. You know the feeling. You click a link, you read the page, and your very next move is to hit the back button because you didn't get your answer. If that's what's happening with your content, you failed the helpfulness test. You just haven't solved the user's problem. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most important benchmark of all, satisfaction. Did the reader get what they came for? Did they learn something valuable? Do they feel like their time was well spent? That feeling, that satisfying experience, that is the ultimate goal of people-first content. So you might be wondering, how does Google's system even begin to understand what helpful content looks like? Well, they use a conceptual framework called EEAT, and understanding this is absolutely key to making sure your content aligns with what they're looking for. EEAT is an acronym, and it stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Now, it's not some single score or a number. It's more like a collection of different signals that, when put together, paint a picture of your content's overall quality and reliability. So let's break down how this works. It all starts with experience. That's the first-hand, real-life knowledge we were just talking about. That experience helps build expertise, your actual skill in a topic. Over time, that can lead to authoritativeness, where you become a recognized go-to source. And all three of those things work together to build the final and most crucial pillar, trustworthiness. Is your content accurate, honest, and safe? And if you remember one thing about EEAT, make it this. Google's own guidelines are crystal clear. While all four of these pillars matter, trust is the foundation. The other three, experience, expertise, and authoritativeness, all serve to build that central pillar of trust. Without it, the whole thing just falls apart. Okay, this is a really critical point that a lot of people get wrong. You don't get an EEAT score that directly boosts your rank. It's not like that. Instead, think of EEAT as a concept. Google's automated systems are designed to look for all sorts of signals that align with the ideas of EEAT to figure out which content is the most helpful and reliable. So how does Google check its own work? How do they know if their algorithms are doing a good job? They use real people called search quality raters. Now, these raters don't have a magic button to change your rankings. The best analogy is from Google itself. Think of them like diners at a restaurant filling out feedback cards. Their feedback doesn't change what's on the menu tonight, but it helps the chefs, in this case Google's engineers, know if they're serving up quality meals. Okay, so that's all the theory, but how do you actually apply this to the content you're making, like right now? Well, Google suggests a really simple and powerful framework that you can use as a kind of compass for every single thing you create. It all boils down to asking yourself 3 simple questions every single time: who, how, and why. If you can honestly answer these 3 questions for every piece of content you produce, you'll always be pointing true north, right towards people-first content. First up, who? Is it super obvious who wrote this? Is there a name, a byline? Can a reader easily click to find out more about the author and what makes them an expert? Being transparent about who's behind the curtain is a massive signal of trustworthiness. Next is how. This is all about your process. If it's a product review, did you explain how you tested it? If you used AI tools to help you write it, are you open about that? Explaining how your content came into existence helps people trust it because they understand its context. And finally, we get to the big one, the most important question of all: why? Why was this content created in the first place? Was the primary purpose to genuinely help someone solve a problem, answer a question, or learn something new? Or was the main goal just to grab some clicks from a search engine? And really, it all comes back to this one simple idea. Your why, your core intent, is the foundation for everything else. If your reason for hitting publish is to genuinely serve your audience, then you're already doing exactly what Google's systems are trying to reward. The simplest rule really is the best one. Just make it for people. And that leaves us with one last thought to chew on. As we enter an age where AI can summarize all of the world's information in an instant, that idea of genuine, human, first-hand experience is only going to become more and more valuable. So the real question for every creator is, how are you going to prove you have it?